and the sun goes behind a cloud, and then my face looks dull, and then the sun comes out again and it's too bright in here. Like, I can't catch a break. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be playing with some new products from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Soft Glam palette and the Amrezy highlighter. So in today's video you're going to see me play with both of these products on my face to create this look that I have on right here. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about these products and show you a few swatches. So the Soft Glam palette looks like this. It has this sort of velvety exterior, same as the Modern Renaissance palette. So I didn't really like that about the Modern Renaissance palette because my palette got dirty very, very quickly. So you can see that it has sort of like a fuzz and makeup all over it. So the Soft Glam palette is going to be the same very soon. But I really, really love the Modern Renaissance palette. And since I heard that the Soft Glam palette was going to be the same formula as these shadows and not the same formula as Subculture, which happened to be a bit of a disaster, I knew I wanted to pick up the Soft Glam palette. These two palettes are in the same packaging, so they're the same size, they have the same number of shadows, and they actually even have some duplicate shadows that appear in both. So here is the Modern Renaissance palette. Looks like this. Has tons of beautiful shades and really gorgeous berry tones in it. And here is the Soft Glam palette. So you can see there are a lot more neutrals in this palette, and it also has Noir, which is Anastasia's signature matte black shadow. So just comparing the two palettes, this is Modern Renaissance and this is Soft Glam right here. So there are definitely some similarities, but I would say that Soft Glam is a little bit more neutral. So there are 3 shades in the Modern Renaissance palette that appear again in the Soft Glam palette. And those are this color here, Burnt Orange, this one here, which is called Tempera, and this one over here, which is called Cypress Umber. So I'm just gonna swatch these shadows from both palettes so we can see if they're actually the same or if they're a little bit different. So when I'm showing these swatches, Modern Renaissance is always gonna be the one on top. So this is Cypress Umber, this is from the Modern Renaissance palette, and that's from the Soft Glam palette. So they look completely identical. And here is Burnt Orange. So the top is from the Modern Renaissance palette and the bottom is from the Soft Glam palette. Again, they look completely identical. I'm also noticing as I'm swatching these shadows that the formula from the Modern Renaissance palette is indeed exactly the same as the formula from the Soft Glam palette. These shadows feel exactly the same. They feel identical to each other. And the last shade is the shade Tempera, and you can probably barely see these swatches on my skin because this is a very, very neutral light color that appears in both palettes. But I do have them both on my fingers right here, and you can just see them like kind of against my hair. They do look exactly alike, and these swatches are the exact same as well. So now there are a couple shades in the Soft Glam palette that I want to show you that are very similar to shades in the Modern Renaissance palette, even though they have different names. So the first one is this new shade in the Soft Glam palette called Mulberry. It's a nice, beautiful, sort of dark, warm wine color, I would say. So that is very similar to the color Red Ochre in the Modern Renaissance palette. Sorry, so now the Soft Glam is on the top and Modern Renaissance Red Ochre is on the bottom. So those two shades are pretty similar as well, but you can see the difference there. So next in the Soft Glam palette, there is this shade right here, which is called Rustic. I'm gonna swatch that one for you because it looks very, very similar to the shade Raw Sienna, which appears in the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm just gonna show you both of those. So you can see those here. So the Soft Glam one is just a little bit more of a darker brown, and this is a little bit more of a lighter brown, but those shades are very similar looking in the pan as well. The next one I wanted to show you is this one, Dusty Rose, right here, which is very similar to the shade Buon Fresco in the Modern Renaissance palette, so I'll show you that as well. So those are the two shades there. This is from the Soft Glam palette, and that is from the Modern Renaissance palette, so they're both sort of light mauve colors that are matte, so these are very similar as well. And then the last one I wanted to show you is this one, which is the shade Glistening, which is very close to the Modern Renaissance shade Primavera. So I'm going to swatch both of those for you right now as well. So these are the two shimmer shades. This one is from the Soft Glam palette, and this one is from the Modern Renaissance palette. So this one, Glistening, is a little bit more of a true gold, and this one, Primavera, from the Modern Renaissance palette, is a little bit more of a champagne gold, but they are also very similar as well. So already right there, that's 7 out of the 14 shades that are either exact duplicates of each other or very, very close to each other. So do you need both of these palettes in your collection? I would say probably not, but is the Soft Glam palette worth the money? I would say absolutely yes, it is. It's the same formula as Modern Renaissance, which is excellent. The palettes do have a lot of kick up, both of them, but I think that that's the trade-off that you make when you get a really pigmented, really blendable shadow. So I don't know, I do see a lot of similarities between these two palettes, but I do think that the Soft Glam is an excellent palette. So, and now moving on to the Amrezy highlighter. This is a beautiful product, you guys. I am so happy that I purchased this. So it is a gorgeous sort of wave stamp in the pan, and that color is just outstanding. It is such a beautiful true gold color, and so I'll go ahead and swatch this on the back of my hand for you. And as you can see, it is an incredibly pigmented highlighter. So here is the highlighter swatched. It is a perfect true gold. It would look great as an eyeshadow, but it also is such a stunning highlighter. It is very pigmented and very soft, so you can have a buildable application. So you can sweep it on lightly for just a little bit of glow, or you can really pack it on for a complete blinding glow. And just in case you didn't know, this highlighter is a collaboration with Amrezy, or Amra, who is on Instagram. She has about 5 million followers. She's a gorgeous specimen of a woman, and she always has such a poppin' highlighter on. So if you haven't checked out Amrezy's Instagram page yet, go follow her because she is so beautiful. So let's go ahead and get into the try on portion of this video. If you want to see how I achieved this look that I'm wearing right now with these two products, keep watching. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. I already have my base down and I've done my brows, and I've also put a little bit of eye primer down as well as MAC Blanc type on top of it, just so that I can very easily blend out the shadows. Looking at this palette, which is incredibly beautiful, I am really drawn to this color right here, which is called Sultry. So I think I'm going to do a gradient smoky eye sort of around that color, so we'll see what we come up with. I'm also going to use the brush that came in the palette just to see how it performs. I usually don't use the brushes that come with palettes because I like to use my own brushes, but Anastasia is known for having high quality products, so I think this brush is going to be good. So I'm going to use it as much as I can in this tutorial as well. So to get started, I think I'm going to go in with a combination of orange soda and burnt orange right here, and just start buffing those out in the crease. Now, wow, so I tapped the brush in very lightly and a lot of pigment came up, as well as in the pan. I don't know if you can see that, but we had quite a bit of kick up on those two shadows. So that lets me know I'm gonna have to go in with a really light hand. And to get started, I'm just going to brush those shadows in my crease right here. So this brush right off the bat, it's a good brush, but it's feeling a little bit stiff for a crease brush. Like, I like my crease brushes to be a lot softer, so, but it's still kind of doing the trick, and it's blending out the shadows really nicely. So there are those two colors blended together. This formula is actually reminding me a lot of the Modern Renaissance palette. Like, these shadows are very close to that formula, if not that exact formula. All right, so now that those two colors are blended out, next I'm gonna go in with a combination of a sienna and rustic. I'm gonna blend these two colors out as well, but sort of a little bit lower down this time. And again, I just dipped into the product very lightly, and there's a lot of kick up. You can see that in the pan as well. So you just have to go in with a really light hand with these shadows and make sure that you really blend them out. Whew. See, that is really pigmented. All right, so now that those two colors are blended out, I'm actually gonna go in with the smaller end of this brush that came with the palette, just so that I can apply color a little bit more precisely. And I'm going to go in with this color right here, which is called Mulberry. It's a really beautiful, like, deep burgundy wine color. So I'm excited to try this one out. Every single one of these shadows is the same. There's lots of kick up in the pan, and the shadow is very pigmented. So you just have to watch how much you apply and make sure that you blend it out. So I'm going to concentrate most of this at the outer corner and just kind of pack it on first, and then we'll blend it out. There is so much fallout with this palette, so it would have been a really good idea for me to just do my eyes first and then do my base after. Okay, and now using the same smaller end of this brush, I'm just gonna go in with the shade Noir and deepen up the outer corner even more, mostly sticking very close to the lash line. And again, this is a very pigmented black shadow, so you just have to be very careful and apply a very light hand. Another trick that I've learned about blending black shadow is that I actually only swipe towards the inside of my eye rather than down like this, because if I try to blend down like that, that's when I get a lot of black shadow collecting down here on my face. So as I'm blending, I just do short, small strokes only towards the inside of my eye, and that sort of pushes the product onto my eye rather than down onto my face. All right, so there is the black shadow blended out, and my eyes are looking a little bit darker than I want them to. So I'm actually gonna do a little bit of a half cut crease. So I'm gonna go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer and a flat shader brush, and I'm just gonna carve out sort of the first third to first half of my eye. About right there. And I'm gonna go about halfway across my eyelid, like that, just to lighten up the lid a little bit, give the illusion of a cut crease. Okay, so then once I'm kind of happy with where the concealer is, and of course this is not perfect right now, we're gonna go in and blend everything out. This is just to get a rough outline of where we want the concealer. So now that I'm sort of happy with where everything's put down, I'm gonna go in with a little bit more and just brighten it up. All right, so this is looking a little bit of a hot mess, but this is the general area where I want to put down those shimmery shadows. So first I'm going to go in with the shade Glistening right here. I'm going to put a little bit onto my brush and see how it performs without setting spray first. And this is just going on the very inner part of my lid. All right, so it's nice, but I feel like it would be a little bit more metallic with some setting spray on it. Like, yeah, like once I just try to start blending, it kind of all goes away. So let's try it with a little bit of setting spray. Just put some on my brush. And what I have here is just Urban Decay All Nighter. So I'm just gonna spritz my brush with a little bit of that. Let's try that again. Yeah, so it's a lot better when it's applied wet. So then the next shimmer shadow that I'm gonna go in with is this one. This is called Rose Pink. I just wanted to show you guys really quickly, like, look at how fast it breaks up in the pan. Like, that's pretty crazy. So you gotta be really, really careful with these shimmer shadows as well. This whole palette is very, very pigmented and has a lot of kick up. So I'm just going to put the Rose Pink shade kind of right here, just as a transition away from that glistening shade. And we're starting to get really unblended here, so just taking a fluffy brush that has no product on it, I'm just gonna blend everything out. I'm gonna go over top of the shadows too a little bit with a very light hand, just to make sure that everything's sort of blended into one another. So that's what we have so far. And then the last shade I'm gonna go in with is this one called Sultry, which I'm really excited about. It is sort of a darker mauve color, but it has a lot of really interesting reflex in it. It looks a little dark on my brush, so I'm gonna go in very, very lightly. Just sort of right at the point where the Mulberry and Noir shades are on my lid. Taking a little bit more of that Rose Pink color, just to kind of blend it into Sultry. I kind of like the Rose Pink color a little bit more, to be honest. Now cleaning up all the fallout, because there's a lot of it. And just blending over the eyes one more time. So now I'm going to take a combination of Mulberry and Noir and just run it on my lower lash line. And taking a little bit of that Sienna and Rustic combination to blend it out. All right, so that's the general idea of what I was going for the eyes. So I'm just gonna go and put on some liner, some mascara, and some lashes, and just do a little bit of touch-ups. Like, I want to apply a little bit more loose powder underneath my eyes because there was a lot of fallout and I feel like I brushed away a lot of the coverage that I had underneath my eyes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and touch up my face and I'll be right back. All right, so here's the almost finished eye look with some lashes, liner, and mascara, and I just touched up a few areas on my face. I intensified the shimmer shadows a little bit bit. I also added a little bit more blush because I felt like I almost completely brushed it away. I also added a little bit more of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder underneath my eyes, just to brighten them up a little bit because I felt like a whole bunch of shadows were getting sort of blended out underneath my eyes, and that wasn't a cute look. And these lashes are actually the velour silk lashes from Sephora in the style Magic Touch, but I actually cut quite a bit off the end of them and they're still enormous. Like, these are a really, really huge lash. I'm pretty happy with the way that this eye look turned out, but I think that because these shadows are so blendable that I didn't get as precise of an application as I would have liked. So I found that when I went over the shadows with a clean, fluffy brush, that a lot of the product ended up getting blended away. So it's just very important that you use an eye primer, that you go in very slowly with a very light hand and apply the pigment very, very carefully and make sure that it sticks down. So using something like setting spray or Fix Plus will help as well. But now I am going to finish off the eyes with the product that I've been very, very excited to try, and that is the Anastasia and Amrezy highlighter. So I'm going to put this in my inner corner and along my brow bone as well, and let's see how it turns out. This product is so, so beautiful, you guys. I really love the wave of the product in the pan, and it looks so reflective, so I'm really excited to try it out. So I'm just going to go in with a very tiny precision brush and a little bit of the product at a time, just because I don't want to go too ham, and just dot a little bit of it on the inner corner. Woo! Woo-wee. Okay, so now I'm also going to highlight the brow bone with this. So just taking it up. That is so pretty. Whew, I'm a fan so far. Okay, so now to actually test the highlighter out on the face, I'm first gonna go in with my Morphe 510 brush and just see how the highlighter applies like that on this side of my face. So let's take a look. Oh my god, that is so gorgeous. It is a very, very pigmented highlighter, so I would recommend going in with a lighter hand than this, perhaps. Okay, and on the other side of my face, I'm going to go in with my beauty sponge and just try pressing it into my face that way. A lot shows up onto the sponge, so just gonna be really careful. So I definitely like it on the beauty sponge side a little bit better because when I put it on with the brush, it was a really, really pigmented highlighter, and I kind of went super ham and the product went everywhere, like it went all the way down my cheek and everything too. So I definitely go in with a lighter hand. I'm just gonna blend this out a little bit with my powder brush. Okay, then using the brush again, I'm just gonna hit my Cupid's bow. A little bit of the tip of my nose and down the center of my nose. This highlighter is extremely pigmented, but I love it, so I just want to put it all over my whole face. And now for lips, I wanted to keep it really glam. I didn't want a matte liquid lipstick or anything like that, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of MAC Subculture lip pencil, and then I'm going to use this ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Wham. It is a very, very bright, shiny, sparkly lip, and it has some gold reflex in it, so I feel like it'll go with this whole look very nicely. So let's finish it off. And that is it, you guys, for this video trying out the new Soft Glam palette and Amrezy highlighter by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Please leave me a comment down below if you've tried either of these products and what your thoughts were, if you think the Soft Glam palette is worth the money, if you think the Amrezy highlighter is worth the money, and if you have both the Modern Renaissance and Soft Glam palette in your collection. Just for my final thoughts on these products, again, I definitely don't think it's necessary to have both of these palettes in your collection. I think there's enough similar shades in the Modern Renaissance palette and the Soft Glam palette that you can probably create similar looks based on what you want to do. But if you are an eyeshadow junkie like me and you like to have a lot of palettes in your collection, the Soft Glam palette is very much worth the money. All the shadows in this palette are extremely blendable. They're very pigmented. They go on beautifully. They blend out beautifully. I also love all the shades in this palette. I think it's a very beautiful palette full of neutrals, and it has a few pops of color, but it's a great everyday palette. And as I was saying in a previous video, a palette can be of the utmost quality, but if you can't sort of reach for it every single day or get tons of use out of the colors that are in the palette, it might not necessarily be worth the money, but this is a great neutral palette that you can definitely use every single day. And when it comes to the Amrezy highlighter, it is a very beautiful, soft formula. It's so gorgeous on the face. I used it in the inner corner as a brow bone highlight, all over my face. I think this would be gorgeous as an all over the lid color as well. So if you're looking for a great high quality highlighter that is in a beautiful, flattering shade, this is a great one. I think if you're a fan of the Becca highlighters like Champagne Pop, Prosecco Pop, Moonstone, Opal, I think that you will really like this highlighter as well. And that is it for this video. Please don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always guys, if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment down below letting me know the kind of videos you want to see me do in the future. And if you didn't like this video, keep that shit to yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers.